Good evening, BBIg family. So our space call just ended and I wanted to give you guys an update. I was actually filming a video for you prior to when it began, so I will add that stuff to the end. But for those of you that weren't on the call, just a quick overview of what we discussed. Basically, we were talking about 5 Narrow and their ownership in BBIg. And the fact that it appears that they're a shell company. And if anybody knows who it is that actually owns them, whether it's Hudson Bay, Susquehanna, it appears that there's some kind of connection to someone that's calling the shots here, because they own roughly, I thought I wrote it down. 1 second. Oh, no, I had it up, so I'll have to look at that later. But it's approximately 22 point... Oh, I do have it. 5 Narrow Lane owns 22,550,400 shares of BBIg. And that filing was done on May 25th, which is 9.672%. Guys, I believe from the conversation that we had that these are shares that they're either lending out or they're using to short BBIg. And my guess is if we dug a little bit deeper, we might find that 5 Narrow actually belongs to Susquehanna or Hudson Bay. My guess is Susquehanna, but again, that's pure speculation. No one wants to get sued. That is not a fact. If anybody has more information, please let me know who the owner is, because it is clear they are a shell company. Then we also discussed just, what we've been talking about here with the price action and different things going on within the company. Also getting into the float and who owns the float and who doesn't. I do want to clarify for those of you on the call, in case you missed Aaron discussing the fact that the word dilution was used incorrectly, guys, in the call. Because in order for the stock to be diluted, they need to do filings disclosing to the shareholders that they are adding more shares, or they need to vote on adding more shares in a shareholders meeting, depending on how it's set up and the type of funding, whether, it's a private placement or whatever the case may be. This has not happened. There are no filings to indicate that. So I just want to clarify, if you were in the call, that there was misunderstanding to the word dilution. And I believe what they may have been trying to say is that shares are being lent out to short, or that there's an extreme amount of shorting going on in BBIg, which we can see, and I'm going to show you in this chart. So I added this part in, so forgive me because I pre-recorded the other part before I did this call. So when you hear my hello, introduction, I apologize, but I don't have time to edit it, guys. It is late and it's 9:32. And I have been doing this since all morning long, with the stock market anyways, and I need to go relax, but have more filming to do. So, anyways, there's a ton of information, and I'm going to show you the newest letter that's circulating from the lawyer that's being talked about all over social media platforms at the end. So stick around and please like and subscribe if you haven't already, guys. Thank you for watching. Good evening, BBIg family. This is the daily chart for BBIg, and I just want to take a minute before I get into the rest of the video to show you exactly what we're looking at and how abnormal this situation is. So this morning at 6 a.m., you see, between 6 and 7:30 a.m., let's say, the price starts to want to creep up, right? And all of a sudden you see a massive sell-off, which does not look normal to me. This looks like a short ladder attack. So I believe that they shorted the price down. Then you see it start to make some headway, start to climb back up, gets a good run, is going up. And guys, look at this consolidation. And it's not normal consolidation, guys, because it's barcoding. Literally, this chart barcodes straight down to market open, and you see it have a little struggle trying to go up, and they again short it right back down, guys. Tries to go up again a little bit after 10, and then it pretty much barcodes the entire day. And I want you to look at the measurements of this barcode, guys, because it literally stayed between 115 and 117 for hours. And look at the pattern. This is the most abnormal movement I have ever seen for this amount of hours in a chart, guys. Why are they afraid to allow this to break out so bad is what I want to know. The only time we start to get movement is when the market closes. It tries to go up again, but immediately it's right back into the same pattern. Something is very off. Now let's take a look at the rest of the information that I have for you today. Okay, right now we're looking at the Ortex data. This was taken at the end of today. And as you can see, our current short interest is 23.48%, which is a decrease of 1.78%. But guys, very high still. Anything over 10% is a huge short interest. The return shares today were 3.23 million shares, and they borrowed 2.09 million shares. So they returned a total of 1.14 million. The cost to borrow is relatively the same, maybe slightly higher than what we've been seeing previously, with a cost to borrow average of 258.79% and a max of 325.78%, a minimum of 205.22%. BBIg has traded a total of 11.3 million shares today for a combined VWAP price of $1.17. The dark pool trades reported for BBIg accounted for 71% of the total volume today. Over the past 20 days, the average dark pool volume has been 61%. Guys, 71% in the dark pool is absolute insanity. The VWAP price for the dark pool trades was $1.16. BBIG sweep orders represented 12% of the stock's total volume today, totaling 1.3 million shares for a VWAP price of $1.17. So as you can see, perhaps how they're getting the swaps between the 115 to 117 that we've been seeing, mostly 116, 117, was going back and forth between the dark pool and sweep orders. And additionally, block trades accounted for 33% of all the volume today for a total of 3.7 million shares. Okay, guys, this is the letter that the attorney has wrote to Vinco Ventures. It was sent via email, and it states, Vinco Ventures, July 5th, 2022. BBIG tied. Undisclosed conflicts. Susquehanna as prime market maker Hudson Bay et al. To Lisa King, chairman of the board, and to the directors, and to legal counsel for Vinco Ventures. I have been a shareholder of BBIG stock since August 2021. At no time was it disclosed to me that Susquehanna parentheses Jeffrey S. Yass, the primary designated market maker for BBIG, is the single largest entity lending out shares of BBIG for purpose of shorting BBIG. It was likewise never disclosed to me that Susquehanna is a 15% stakeholder in TikTok, a prime competitor of Lomo. As such, Susquehanna has an obvious and unwaivable financial conflict of interest. The success of BBIG Lomo results in a financial loss of Susquehanna's TikTok investment. BBIG also never disclosed that the CEO of Hudson Bay has close connections with Susquehanna, which disclosure must certainly have been germane, given the content of paragraph 1, and that Hudson Bay held a large net short position in BBIG at the time Vinco negotiated and entered into lending agreements with Hudson Bay. Only this morning I found the case of Hudson Bay Master Fund Limited versus Patriot National Inc., SDNY 2018 309F SUPP.3D100. While I have not fully digested all of the case, at first glance it lays out the same type of cookie cutter behavior that Hudson Bay engaged in on prior occasion that seems to have been utilized in the case of BBIG. It appears that in that case, Hudson got away with their market manipulation, so they have decided to do it again. Only this time the manipulation has become even bolder. The problem, as I see it, is the irreconcilable conflict of interest that rests between Vinco, BBIG, Tide, and Susquehanna. And that is what makes me believe this case must resolve the opposite of Hudson Bay versus Patriot. Oh, sorry, that's the third page. One sec. Okay. As a stockholder of both BBIG and Tide, I insist that the board take immediate legal action by filing a petition for a writ of mandate, prohibition, and a peremptory writ in the first instance. The injunctive relief must demand that Susquehanna immediately close all short positions against both BBIG and Tide, including any options hedging and any use of swaps or other sophisticated exotic financial instruments used to hide short positions. That it be ordered immediately to recall all lent out shares used to short either BBIG or Tide, and be further ordered precluded from engaging in any further similar activities, either directly or indirectly through their corporations or subsidiaries or any other shell corporations or dark agreements with other hedge funds or market makers or prime brokers. The legal action must also seek to prevent Hudson Bay from shorting either stock or engaging in any financial transactions intended to profit from the decline in stock price of either BBIG or Tide. I, as a value investor, employed the age-old technique made famous by Warren Buffett. I identified a good company, BBIG, Vinco Ventures, with good services and or goods that is run by competent people, Lisa King, but is very undervalued. In August, it was essentially a penny stock trading as low as $2.23, and simply buy as much of that company as I can and hold it for as long as necessary, including many years, and to continue to add to my position whenever financially possible. As you can see from the chart below, the on-balance volume shows an increase without a drop as the stock price continues to plummet. Can you please explain to me how the price of a stock goes down as more and more investors purchase and hold? I also observed that Lisa King has virtually no experience in social media marketing, and that to my knowledge, neither she nor anyone else on the board has hired or retained the services of someone who has the experience, training, and skill set to make the necessary changes to the Lomo app, including the logo that would jettison Lomo ahead of TikTok. Even more disturbing is the fact that Lisa King was announced as taking over as CEO on September 21st, 2021, and at that date and time, the stock price of BBIG was $7.50. The stock price has only gone down since then. It has never been that high again since that date. At present, I am investing any previously existing connection between Lisa King and Susquehanna, Jeffrey S. Yass, and or Hudson Bay. I am also investigating how Hudson Bay, a hedge fund that was net short on BBIG, came to be financially savior, and why they were allowed to continue to short the stock while they were in a relationship with Vinco as a lender. It seems that they had a conflict in that if the loan turned out to be a bad one, they would lose money on that loan, but they would make money off their short position. This conflict was also never disclosed to investors by Vinco, and it is unclear what restrictions Vinco placed upon Hudson Bay with regard to shorting through any financial vehicle. Vinco Ventures, BBIG, and Tide's board of directors has a fiduciary duty to protect its shareholders' interest, and the only way to do that is to put an immediate end to the conflict of interest. Susquehanna must either be replaced with a primary market maker that has no conflict, or it must be forced to cease and desist all activities directly and indirectly intended to depress the stock value of both BBIG and Tide. I am giving you 48 hours from receipt of this letter to respond to me in writing as to your course of action based upon this demand. I am further giving you 72 hours from receipt of this letter to commence legal proceedings for injunctive relief as outlined above against Susquehanna and Hudson Bay. In the event that you fail and refuse to take legal action as demanded, I will retain counsel and bring action against the guilty parties on behalf of the shareholders, and based upon the failure to act, I will be naming Vinco, BBIg, and Tide as co-conspirators and will be seeking attorney's fees and punitive damages. Obviously, this will be a class action lawsuit. The class will be large and so will the legal fees. Sincerely. And guys, I don't know who this mysterious writer is, but if this doesn't have your brain sizzling with opportunity here for them to finally do what is right and get to the bottom of this manipulation and what Susquehanna is doing, I'm loving every minute that I've read this. It's just so fabulous. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed hearing that, because I know that what I've been seeing in social media only shared the first page. But again, I brought to you the full letter. All right. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for watching.